Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, out of our studios here in Munich. Commodity TV for you, and we want to do an update interview with Dr. Keith Barron, the founder and CEO of Aurania Resources. And you remember Dr. Keith Barron was the one who did Aurelian Resources, Fruta del Norte he discovered in Ecuador, and made 100 times the money for his shareholders. And now he wants to do that again. And of course, some good things happened with the company we want to talk about. Keith, good morning. Great to have you here.
Thanks for having me. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much for taking the time. I think you brought out a press release on Friday, which we should discuss about.
Correct, yes.
Because it looks like, it's not only gold. Now we talk about copper, silver also. What is up?
Yeah, well, we've talked about copper before, but we were talking on Friday about, we've come to a realization that the copper that we've been finding recently, since October of last year, is quite special. And it's over a long distance.
Yeah.
So we've traced it now for 22 kilometers. 22 kilometers, that's a hell of a distance.
That is super large.
Yeah.
I'm not aware that anything in the world, let's say in the last, 20, 30 years, was found like that.
No, not that we can find in the records for comparison purposes. That's correct. Now, we're not saying that everything, we have an ore body that's 22 kilometers.
Of course, you have not drilled yet.
No,
of course
nothing like that. We don't have the third dimension, and of course, but probably what we expect is that there's going to be hotspots within that 22 kilometers that are going to be mineralized, and hopefully it's going to be economic.
So
but we'll see. But it's occurring copper with silver all the time with silver. And it's very, very interesting because the geological setup for this is very specific. It's in sediments, in flat-lying sediments, which are full of carbon. And the carbon is the key to the whole thing because the carbon is a chemical reductant. And when fluids were carrying copper through the rocks, and the rocks are porous, and they came in contact with the carbon, then the copper came out of the solution, and so it's mineralized, right?
Yeah.
And there are parallels to this kind of stuff around the world. Two of them that come to mind immediately. One of them is actually here in Germany, and into Poland it's called the Kupferschiefer. Kupferschiefer in German means copper shale, and that's been mined for a long time. It was actually mined for 800 years here in Germany, and then it ended at the time of reunification. But it's continued on into Poland across the border. And I believe there's 5 producing mines right now on this. Really, it's one layer of sediment, one layer of carbon-bearing sediment that also is mineralized with copper and with silver. Now, it's not mineralized economically the whole distance. Again, there are hotspots here where the grade is sufficient, where the thickness is sufficient, and the conditions are right, so that it's actually created an ore body. The other place would be the copper belt in Zambia and the DRC, Democratic Republic of Congo. Those rocks are a lot older. They're a lot more difficult to understand, but from what geologists have been able to determine, the geological kind of phenomenon is the same. So the things that came together in the same way to produce that sedimentary hosted copper deposit. So it's very, very exciting for us because it's the very, very first time anybody has found anything like this in Ecuador. It's a brand new discovery. Remember, we're in a completely virgin area. And people have been saying to me, in fact, they said to me yesterday, how on earth is it that you found this and nobody has tripped over it before?
Yeah, probably it's jungle, right?
It's jungle.
It's covered.
It's covered in jungle, but it's also not very accessible. There's not a lot of infrastructure. There's hardly any roads, and there haven't been any geologists walking around to see this.
So your team of, let's say, geologists and employees was walking through the jungle. They knew like where they have to walk, following sediment or streams also, yeah? And as I understand it, because you brought some beautiful rock samples also with you, yeah?
Sure.
And this is really impressive what they look like.
Yeah.
Maybe you can elaborate a bit what values you have found so far in those rock samples, in those grab samples, yeah? and maybe what is the follow-up plan? How do you want to follow up the whole thing?
Yeah. So the geologists were actually sent into the jungle to take what we call stream sediment samples. They're taking little paper packets of clay and silt fraction sizes out of the streams. And lo and behold, to my utter surprise, they started to come back from the jungle with rocks, starting out sizes like this and even up to almost a meter in size. And gosh, in some cases they walk for 2 days carrying something that's
Must be heavy.
60 kilos, right? Wow. How on earth did they do this? I don't know. But I think they're in competition with each other trying to find the biggest rock that was mineralized. It's really, really funny, actually. But they've been bringing these things back from the jungle, and originally they were loose slabs of rock that they were finding in the streams, and then we were able to trace these back to their origins, where they're coming from, where they're eroding out of, in cliff faces and exposures where the streams are cut down into the rock. So that's where we are now, and we're putting all these things on the map, the locations. And if you look at our press releases, you see that we've got analyses from grab samples from the outcrops, and also from these float blocks, as we call them, just loose blocks that have been found in the streams. They're very impressive values. There's lots and lots of things that are above 1%, 5%, 10%, even much higher than that in terms of copper.
Wow.
And also with very appreciable silver, always with silver. So 10 grams per ton, 20, 40, 50, 80. I think we've gone as high as 200 grams per ton. So
Fantastic.
very impressive stuff.
Yeah, great. So that would mean for the future, if we think about whatever 10-year production scenario, probably that the silver would pay a lot off, right?
Well, yeah, this is the thing. And as an economic geologist, I'm always thinking ahead. What does this represent in terms of how would you mine it? How would you beneficiate it? How would you treat it? How would you get the copper and the silver out? What could it be potentially worth? And all that stuff. So, at the end of the day, this is called oxide copper. We don't know how extensive it is. And we don't have an ore body yet. I want to make that clear. But oxide copper is very easy to treat. You can even heap leach it if you want. You can treat it with sulfuric acid. You make copper sulfate solution. You pass an electric current through it, and then you make copper metal. You don't have to make float off a concentrate, a sulfide concentrate, and send that elsewhere to a smelter. So that means what? It means we don't have to put it on a truck. We don't have to send it 400 kilometers to the coast. And then send it to China or to Korea or another country for it to be treated. And waiting for the money to come back from there. Right.
That's right. Okay, so before we dream about, let's say, production, because I love to dream on that also.
Me too.
But let's stay with reality. What is the next step to prove out, or let's say to show the public, the regulators, etc., that it's not only beautiful, lovely colored rocks on the surface. So what do you want to do, and maybe how much, or what would be a possible budget for that to drill that out, and what are the next steps?
Well, this is where the hard work starts. So it is a massive area, a very, very large area, and it's even increasing the size because we haven't found the ends of it yet. So what do? Well, we start to prioritize areas on the basis of structure, on the basis of all the characteristics we see on the ground, and there's not a lot visible, because it's almost flat lying and there's jungle everywhere, right? So everything is we call it the Inferno Verde, the green hell, right? It's very difficult. You got to hack your way through with a machete. It's just like something out of Apocalypse Now. It's pretty amazing stuff. But anyway, so we have to prioritize areas, and we're going to do that based on geology. And almost certainly we're going to use geophysics on this as well. So bring some advanced geophysical techniques to this, and start to hopefully find the hotspots, and then bring in the drill.
Okay. So what's the budget for that? Like 5 million for the first set?
Well, I just don't know. I don't know yet, and we're still trying to wrap our head around it. It's because this stuff is in sediments and it's fairly flat lying, I think we can mobilize a reverse circulation rig in, which will be a lot cheaper than bringing a diamond drill in. And we can do maybe even as much as a hole a day. It would go fast because it's in sediments, and the sediments are soft.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. It's not like granite or whatever. Yeah.
No,
like super
very
hard
different.
rock. Yeah.
Very different.
Very
yeah.
good.
So it's
Okay.
different from porphyry drilling.
Yes.
And this is shallow, so we're not drilling 1,000-meter holes on this, right? It's going to be
How much would it be? Like 200-300 meters holes?
maximum.
Yeah.
Maximum.
Oh, that
yeah.
could be really fast.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. No. We want to get a first look. And maybe we'll bring in a diamond drill later to have a look at what the stuff looks like in the core. That'd be fantastic to see. But, first things first. So it's very exciting because this is not something that we did expect to find copper porphyries, and we found lots and lots of evidence of mineralized porphyries on the property. However, we didn't expect to find this kind of stuff. And this is real bonus time.
It's always good to have a bonus. That's
Yes,
lovely.
it is, yeah.
But that's it. Let's come shortly onto the gold side.
Yes.
Because you released also, let's say, the first hole. But
Yeah.
you drill altogether 9, so 8 are remaining.
Yes.
When can we expect maybe some news on that?
Very, very soon, yeah. So we've got, I think hole 9 is finished now at Crunchy Hill. And so that's in the box, and I believe it's been dispatched to the lab. I have to check. It's been a holiday the last couple of days. So I'll check, and no, it should be coming back very, very soon, and then we'll release the results from that. But we're already looking ahead. Remember, this is scout drilling. This is not resource drilling or anything
That's what
like
I
this.
just wanted to mention.
This is just taking a quick and dirty look, bang, 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 move on to the next one, right?
Yeah.
Because we don't want to blow our whole budget
Yeah.
in one place when we have so many targets.
Exactly.
right?
You have like 16 targets, I think I saw in the presentation.
That's correct, yeah.
And that's
yeah.
really a lot.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
super. Coming shortly on the financial side, of course, exploration companies always need money, yeah, that's for sure. But
Yeah.
let's say, given a little bit more down the road, could you imagine if a major comes to you? I mean, we saw it with Salt Gold, for example. We saw it with some other companies where already also early in the stages, the majors stepped in and said, oh, I want to buy 5% here or maybe 9.9 there.
Yeah.
Could you imagine something like this happen? Because you are the largest shareholder, you own 54%.
Well, yeah, I mean, I know that the majors are interested in us because of our very, very big land package. But beyond that, I mean, they're always risk adverse, right?
Yeah.
And there's always a couple of board members who say, wait until they have a resource or whatever, blah 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 blah. And then there are other people in companies, and I saw one very recently. Newmont, the new Newmont Gold Corp, did a deal in Japan on the second hole, right?
Wow.
And just bang, so they saw value in there and potentially real upside, so they got in early.
Yeah.
So it's different philosophies, different companies, and we've seen a lot of changes in the industry. Just remember that, and Barrick has got a new leader, and Newmont Gold Corp are together now, and there's been some changes, so maybe we're going to see more aggressive movements in the from the majors in that space.
I mean, one thing is for sure, they need also sites for the future to grow because the exploration was lagging the last years a lot through the financial crisis. I mean, everybody had to save money to bring down the cost. So it looks to me like that they missed out a lot of exploration. And now today to say, well, probably it's cheaper to buy into something which is already there instead of restarting by themselves in the greenfield, right?
Well, they've been doing this for years. So there's almost no organic growth within the senior gold companies. They buy the juniors, they buy the mid-tiers, and M&A is a very, very big thing for the senior producers, right? And it's really the only way they can grow because they need they're consuming so many ounces from the reserves every year. They'd have to go and pick up. They'd have to find a half dozen deposits a year. And so what do? They go and they buy a company that's already in production, things have been de-risked, they've already got the mill, they're producing or whatever, and then they move on, right? So, but you've talked about peak gold. I think peak gold is here. I think peak copper is very, very close as well. And, you know, we're going to be in a deficit situation in the copper story very, very soon. And it's only going to get worse with electric cars. And infrastructure builds and all that stuff.
Charging infrastructure, all
exactly.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it looks like you are in the right place, in the right spot. You did it before with Aurania, of course. I think you know there's nobody else knowing the country better than you.
Yeah.
And I think you have your relationships with the, let's say, politicians, with the politics itself, with the mine ministry, etc. And also probably I want to touch last but not least, of course, the relationship in your social responsibility, because this is something which is heating up more and more. And I remember that you told me this week, you said we are now preparing to give clean water to the to the tribes living like the Shwa, they're called, right?
That's right.
On your property. So maybe you can give us a short idea on that.
We've got it's a potable water unit. It's called a solar cart. They're constructed in Florida. I put an order in for 30. The very first one is being delivered. Well, it's out of customs now.
Super.
And we're going to put it in the first village this coming weekend.
Super.
And for the very, very first time, the people in the village will have water that's free of parasites, bacteria, viruses, protozoas, all this nasty, nasty stuff.
Super.
And it's going to be transformational for them. And,
definitely.
And our intention, I'm doing this through my private foundation, as in working in association with the company, of course. And we're going to have 30 machines in there.
Oh, that's a lot.
Yeah, because it's very, very important. It's very important, and it's the right thing to do. But it's important to have social license to operate here.
Definitely. Yeah, without social license, you always have problems. Very simple.
Indeed.
Super.
Yeah.
Keith, great update. Thank you very much. We look forward to your news releases coming out soon, of course. And we remembered scout drilling.
Yes.
Yeah, but that is also even really important because then you know where you should go next, right? And
Hopefully.
then you understand, you get a better understanding of the whole thing.
Yes.
Great. Fantastic. Well, I would say keep it going, and also please keep it going with your social engagement, because I think that's exactly the right way to handle that. And we're going to talk soon.
Great.
Super. Thank
Thanks
you very
so
much. Thank you, Keith.
Thank you.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, it was Dr. Keith Barron from Aurania Resources. And you heard it. The drills are turning. The 9th hole is almost finished on the gold properties, on the first gold target, I should say, more correct. And we look forward to some news here, because this is scout drilling. Please remember, because I think a lot of people expect that he hits in the first hole like he did with Aurania, but in Aurania it was hole number 200 something.
Yes.
So please be advised that this is not like a stupid speculation story here. This is real. This is, I would say, one of the largest ventures and properties ever done here in Ecuador so far, and especially with the copper silver, this could turn out to a real super large property and mining project for the future here. Of course, there's to be done a lot of work, but I think Keith is doing the right things here in the preparation, and especially his social license and his social ability is outstanding, and I wished many more companies would work like him, and to give indigenous people clean water for the first time ever in generations. I think that's the right way to do it. So I would suggest check out the company. Thanks for watching us, and bye-bye from Munich.
Bye-bye.